Welcome to my lovely little Zoom session. So, my name is Antonia Harman, and I wanted to show you what I can do. So I think, so if everyone can mute, please. I think I can hear somebody in the background. If you can mute all your microphones and then talk. I'm not going to mute you myself because I'd like you guys to be able to talk. So turn yourselves back on. Okay, lovely. So I'm Antonia Harman, and I can dissolve emotional trauma. So we've got, thank you everyone for joining this session. It's very lovely to see you all. And we've got a combination of influencers and friends and people we found on Instagram and some press as well. So thank you every one of you for being part of this today. So let me start from the beginning. I think that we are way cooler and better than we know or understand. I think we've got loads and loads of abilities, and I think humans just have no perception of actually how wonderful we are. And actually, potentially, I think we've got a lot of divine gifts which are just blocked. And I've spent the last 13 years awakening some of my talents, and now I'm able to do a few things which other people aren't. Because I spent a long time in a trance. I've had this weird life where I've spent a long time just completely, just not here. And just, you know, not being able to think straight, not being able to do things. But I've woken up with some superpowers. So that's pretty cool. And I can teach you guys how to do all these things as well. So basically, the stuff that we're going to focus on, and the thing that I do most, is about dissolving emotional traumas. So, you know, when you hang around somebody who's sad or angry or upset, you spend a few seconds with them and they're literally radiating that emotion. If they're happy, it makes you buzz. You're happy to be around them. It's wonderful. And if they're miserable, you can feel it too. You know that they're not feeling very good, and it actually can bring you down being around somebody who's not feeling very happy within themselves. And then you can also look at the language that we use. When you say that there's an argument, you could cut the atmosphere with a knife. And that's very telling. It's like you can feel it in the air. You really, really can. And I just think that emotion is like a gas which hangs around people. So like it can just be a fog of energy hanging around people. So that's what I like to say. And it's almost, I mean, it's a funny way of saying it, but I almost think it's like a fart that hangs around people. So if you're angry, it's just like this smell of anger around you, or happiness, or whatever it might be. And I figured out how to dissolve our emotional traumas in this way. So what I'm going to be doing today is dissolving traumas. So I'm going to ask for you guys to be telling me things that are that you've got which are blockages within you. So we're going to be doing something, maybe grief, and maybe some phobias, maybe some breakups, any traumas that you guys have got. I will be dissolving various different people, maybe do some group healings as well for you guys. So so often there's a lot of people with grief, or maybe a lot of people have spider phobias, and I can just do everybody at the same time if multiple people have got the same thing. All I'm going to need for you guys to do is to be able to access the emotions. That's the only caveat. You need to be able to feel it. And when you can feel it, then I'm just going to look through the screens. Yeah, when you can feel it, that means I'm able to dissolve it. So it's like a Pandora's box of emotion. You just need to be able to tap into that Pandora's box. Sorry, I've got to admit somebody now. Yeah, you just need to be able to tap into, open Pandora's box and drop into that sadness, drop into the anger, frustration, whatever it might be that you have around whatever situation it is. You need to be able to feel it. And if you can feel it, I can probably dissolve it. So that's what we're doing. Now, we're going to start in a minute, and I'm also going to tell you about one-to-one sessions. I'm going to show you stuff like the courses I've got coming up as well. So I'm going to start with that. So let's start. So yeah. So hang on a second. Sorry, I've got lots of things showing up on my. I need a producer. Okay, we've got someone else joining as well. So yes, and this is a great thing because, you know, we're all locked in. There's nothing to be doing at the moment, so it's a great time to be studying. It's a great time for wellness and bettering yourselves and making yourselves feel healthier and happier. I think we've all sort of had a bit of a reality check with COVID and how everything's going with that. And I think a lot of people are becoming a bit more mindful. They've been so busy. I think we've all been so busy for such a long time. I think now is a really, really good time for self-development, because I think we've all slowed down. And now we can start to see where maybe things are missing, or you're not so happy because I think we've been so busy, we haven't necessarily had an idea about our thoughts so well, or understand what's actually been bugging us. And now we've got the time to actually be alone with our thoughts and realize that things aren't working as well as they might be. That could be relationships, that could be jobs. We've actually had an opportunity to assess our lives and go, this is good, this isn't good. And that's also with emotional stuff. Maybe you're still stuck in some grief or a breakup or a phobia or something like that. And that's what I can do for you today. So I think I should just dive right in and start working on some different things for people. So I'm just wondering what people have got. So I think you've all got the chat side, and I think you can all chat to me, I think. I'm doing this on my phone, so it's a new way of doing it. But I think you should be able to dive in. And I think I'd like to work on grief first. Does anybody have any grief, please? This can be obviously of a loved one passing. It can even be of a job that you didn't get, or anything it is. Okay, Anushka is telling me that she has some grief, and Sue's putting her hand up. I can only see one screen at a time, Sue, so type it, please. Okay, so Anushka, who do very well at typing. Anushka, please can you tell us what the grief is about? It doesn't need to be your life story at all. It is, just tell me in brief, was it somebody passing? Zara has some grief as well. So Anushka Urban, to everyone, she lost her granddad. Great. I'm just going to put you down on my little list. Has anybody else got grief from a loved one passing? If anyone else does, just write it down, please. Anushka, granddad passing. Okay, so anyone else say that they have any grief from anybody passing as well? Type it in. And Jamie lost your grandmother. Lynn lost a grandmother. Oh shoot, on Easter Sunday. I'm terribly sorry to hear that, my dear. Okay, I think a lot of you have got some grief. Perfect. Right. So what I'm going to need you to do, because this is an interactive thing, my loves. So, oh, I've got someone in the waiting room as well. Let me just add them. Caitlin is just joining in now. So hi, Caitlin. If you can mute the microphone, that would be awesome. And what we're going to be doing is grief. So a number of the participants have got grief. So what we're going to be doing is the grief for everybody all in one go, because there's a number of people with some grief. We've got extra people coming in the room for Sue. Awesome. Thank you. So right, what I need you guys to do is you need to connect to things. If you can feel it, then I can probably dissolve it. So I need everybody, if we're all going to be helping each other out, I'm going to be using your energy systems to be helping to do a group healing. So what I need you guys to do is to close your eyes and connect to the grief. So just really drop into the grief and really feel it, really experience it, really feel sad and upset and just teary even, or whatever it is for you. Feel it, feel it, feel it, feel it. And when you can feel it, I will dissolve the bubble of emotion. I'll explain a bit more about what it is. Okay, so feel your grief, my lovelies. Thank you so much. And I will do my best to empty it out and I'll explain a bit more about it. Okay.
Ja, kom die jongen.
Please mute your microphone.
Die jongen. Die jongen. Die jongen. Kom die jongen.
Karen, can you mute your microphone, please? And Lynn, please mute your microphone. Everybody, please mute your microphone. Okay. Keep staying in your grief, please.
Almost gets back up. We're gonna have to please twist cells and do this. Be lousy one.
Caitlin, please mute your microphone. We can hear you. Thank you. Okay, right. Grief. How's that feeling for everyone? I have just dissolved people's grief. Can you please tell me on the screen how that's feeling? Or Zara's making some faces at me. So Zara, you tell me how you're feeling, please. Turn your microphone on and have a little chat.
Oh, yeah, I've been through a lot, and I was just going back to where I was. That keeps coming back to like my triggering. I feel like, because I do Reiki as well, I can feel you through all my palms and right through my chakra, and feel lighter.
And how does it come out of you?
Yeah.
So basically what it is, what I've been doing is like, the fireworks is the emotion, is the sadness, is the anger. So what you get to is I empty that out. It's like a vacuum cleaner of all of those emotions I just suck out. So and then you find a place of peace, and it's emptiness. Peace is emptiness, which people are unfamiliar with normally what peace really is. There's nothing happening with peace. It's just a flat line. So bliss and happiness and all those things is actually an action. You're doing something. Peace is just neutrality. So now when you look at your grief situations, everyone, I'd like to tune in just a moment. You'll think about your grief, and you should just feel just empty. Like, okay, it's okay. It's just empty. There's nothing there. The grief, the sadness, the overwhelmingness of it all is just gone. And you're just like, okay, that's okay. It's just, there's nothing there. You can't find it. And sometimes people mistake this with being numb. Numb is really blocking something. Whereas what we've done is we've just emptied it out. And then you'll try to find it. You just go, oh, yeah, I'm okay about that now. That's what we're looking for. And that's what you should have experienced. So Zara, is that where you are, my dear? Yeah. And we did a lot of people at once. Who else wants to talk? Anybody else says that you can speak up and say how you're feeling now from your grief? Anybody? Anyone want to tell me how they're feeling? Balgenda, Karma, lovely, wonderful. Lovely. Anybody else feeling any better, calmer, more centered? Anushka, it's good I feel it's going to be a long distance. More distant is Lynn. So that's interesting. So there's, I forgot the name of the therapy. There is a type of therapy, which someone's probably going to remind me of on screen, please feel free to, which is Bubbles are Raising in Regan. So there's, it's not CBT, I think it is. Actually, what they do is when you have some trauma that happens to you, what they do is they want to sort of distance you from the trauma. So what they'll do is you'll say, it was a car crash, for example, and you have the car crash on a screen in front of you. You have to visualize the screen. And then you put the screen inside a screen, and the screen inside of a screen, like more and more screens outside. And I'm just going to admit somebody. Yeah, you put more and more screens, and the more screens you have, the more distance you become from the situation. So we just had a comment about the grief feeling more distant, and that is wonderful. So the other person who said that you think it's going to be a long process, there might be more emotions associated with it. So just be aware of that. It might just be the grief. So look for specifically grief. There might be other things as well. So Zara's saying amazing, wonderful. Okay, so anyone else? How's the grief feeling for anybody else? What are the requests in? Feel free from Edda and Edda to everyone. Feel freer, which is awesome. I'm just having a look in. We're going to get Regan in as well. Regan, please mute your microphone. Right. That was what we're doing. So it's Caitlin in Maniopolis. I'm feeling grief for, let me just try and read that. Police brutality and frustration. I felt sympathy and love to all. Yeah, that's, I think, Caitlin, you might be, there's a group field about the grief. So if you've got any grief around something that specifically happened to you, because I think at the moment, because of, you know, that ridiculous thing that just happened in America, I think that there is definitely a field of grief that I think a lot of people might be trapped within, and you might find yourself in there. So if you've got anything which is specific to you, I'm just having a quick read through. Yeah, so I think that's good for grief. Yeah, the grief feels like, I noticed myself when, for example, Princess Diana passed, or Michael Jackson died, or a few of these other well-known people, or people that had a lot of publicity around their death, and there's definitely a somberness to the air, a sadness to the air. So if Caitlin, yours was around this police brutality thing that just happened, then absolutely you're going to be feeling it, because I think it's just very much in the consciousness of America at the moment. So that's something to be considered as well. Okay, so everyone's feeling a bit lighter and a bit better. What should I be doing next? Who's got a breakup? Has anyone got a breakup? Let me know if you've got a breakup that's still doing you in. Baljenda, yes. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. If not, I do apologize. So you've got a breakup. Does anyone else have a breakup which is still getting them in some capacity? Because we'll do breakups now. Lorna also does wonderful. We're just going to do group things since we've got a number of people. It's a good way to do it. Breakup long time. Karen, breakup long time ago, never got over it. That's a fantastic thing. We will get you over it today, fingers crossed. I am just going to go into the speech thing and just see what everyone's writing to me. Nope, I can't find it now. Oh, these technical things are such a job. Never mind. So wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, breakups. So you know if you've got a breakup. So if you're still either obsessing about the ex, or it was Donatella has one also. So if you and Katie, yes, had one about 3 years ago. Fantastic. I found that. Yes, Karen, no, we got over. Katie Kirk, yes, I had one about 3 years ago. Controlling relationship and a bad breakup that I haven't been able to have anything serious since. Fantastic. Hope you'll be able to help you too. Long time ago, never got over it. Hi, Bal. Yes, we spoke last week. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. And if you've got a breakup and you haven't spoken up about it, that's no problem at all. I will work on everybody's breakup. So once again, I'll just do it as a group because it's just faster and simpler and everybody gets the benefits of it. Seems like the ideal way to do it. So if you have a breakup and you are still either pining after them, obsessing about it, still upset, still heartbroken, any of that stuff from a breakup, then please close your eyes now and think about the breakup. Just drop into those emotions, feel sorry for yourself, get upset about it, feel it. And whatever breakup means for you, we will try and do it as a generalized thing. So, okay, so drop into that, feel bad about it. Allow that Pandora's box to open, feel it. If you can feel it, I can probably clear it. So just drop into that, please, my dears. I'm just waiting for everyone to just feel it. Close your eyes, feel it. And here I go. Okay, so someone was just typing. I don't know where that was. Okay, how are your breakups feeling? We will talk about the breakups and I'll talk about more about how I got into all this stuff and a little bit about myself. So can I have comments on how you are feeling from just clearing that breakup? Does your breakup feel more distant, lighter, not associated with it anymore? Are those negative feelings, obsessive feelings just out of your brain, out of your body? How are you feeling? Please, can I have some feedback? And I have some tea. Okay, type away, my dears. So yes, as I said, you won't have the fireworks. You just won't have that sadness, that grief, that just whatever's going on in your head, that rejection, that betrayal, whatever happened in your relationships to cause the breakdown. So how are they feeling? So Martin said, when you said using the big eraser or techniques of level 1 and to go through your head, I'm not sure. So Martin's asking, so level 2 includes, Martin's coming on level 2 tomorrow, and this is a level 2 technique. After Val, feeling much better, was like it was very distant, much less in terms of emotions with it, fantastic. NS, my heart is beating quickly after that, fantastic. Yeah, But does it feel, how is it feeling, everyone? Does it feel lighter? Do you feel less attached to it? Give yourself a few minutes. We have time. Actually, I think what we'll do is I'll start talking about it, and then you can tell me and type away and tell me how you're feeling, and I will talk more about everything I do. So, and how I got into this stuff, and then we'll go back to the typing. Okay, so basically, as I said, I think we have abilities above and beyond what we know or understand. I think that we have no idea how awesome we truly are, and I absolutely believe that. And I think that we have more abilities than we know, and I think that it's been hidden from us quite a lot. So we've all got a couple of people in mind who were miraculous. You all know who they are, but what we don't know, and what's untold history, is that there's 160,000 monks in China and Tibet who had what they would be called as ascended abilities. Now, those are instant healing, instant manifestation, bilocation, all these siddhis, which is a word for, as a Sanskrit word for spiritual superpowers. They had all these amazing siddhis. 160,000 monks could do all those amazing things. So although it's incredibly amazing and special, it's not unique, which means it is more attainable than we've been told it to be. Not that I'm at that level, not in the slightest, but I've started to awaken some of my abilities, and abilities that I believe us all to have, and abilities which are innate within us. They are us, but they have just been locked away for millennia within us. So I believe us all to be gods and goddesses. You, my dears, are gods and goddesses who just forgot how frigging awesome you are, and you truly, truly are. I believe this in all of my heart and all of my soul, and I think dissolving traumas and healing things is normal. It's innate within us. It's our birthright, and it's who we are. So yeah, thank you, Val. Yes, I do, and that's what I do. I awaken abilities. So I teach in a different way than most people teach. So I know a number of you have done amazing healing arts like Reiki or shamanism or Wicca or whatever it might have been. A lot of people are well versed in many, many different awesome modalities. So most of the healing arts that I'm familiar with are something called lower level magic. Now, this isn't an Antonia term. It's not anything degrading in any way. This is an ancient mystery schools term. It's just what I'm referring to, ancient mystery schools term. And this is, all it means is you're using an intermediary to help you do the work. So, for example, in Reiki, you're using symbols normally. Or if you're using shamanic stuff, you're using maybe a ceremony or a potion or a spell of some sort. Even Western or allopathic medicine uses potions and pills, which are, same sort of thing, but they're using an intermediary to help you do it. Or Wicca, you might be doing the same, or angelic work, you might be calling on an angel or being of some sort to be helping you do the work. And that is the typical type of healing we are all familiar with. You're using somebody or something to help you channel the energy in some way and making the healing possible, facilitate the work in some way. Hang on, I need a little drink. So, I just need to admit Regan. Okay, so so that is the lower level magic. What I'm doing is something which hasn't been seen for a while, as far as I'm aware, and that's something called higher level magic. Now, higher level magic is you doing the doing, because you, my friends and goddesses who forgot how frigging great you are. So what I do is I don't really teach in a normal way. I remove the blockages preventing you from doing these things innately. And then you can do it first time, every time. It just works. I remove the blockage. It's just a wall. It's just like a little barrier, which is preventing you from doing something. And then it's as easy as breathing. And it works. As long as you can connect to it, it works. It's normal. And it's your birthright. And it's always, you're always destined to be. So that's a little bit about that. Okay. So, and any other questions people might have at this juncture. Okay, so my relation, Zara's just said, my relation of abandonment, loss, grief, and pain feels like it's changed a color in my aura. Awesome. So yes, how's everyone doing? Can we heal the physical body trauma in this way? Bal, interesting question. Can we heal the physical body in this way? I believe that disease has a lot to do with emotion. So I also believe that it's very important to do basic things like don't put a load of toxins in your body, don't poison yourself. If you poison yourself, you're putting yourself in harm's way unnecessarily initially. So I'm a big believer in having organic products on my skin, food that I'm eating, that sort of stuff. I'm a big believer in sunshine and movement and making sure that you are working out and getting things shifting in your body. It's important what you're putting in also emotionally. Who are you hanging around with? What are you talking about? Are you focusing on things which make your soul sing? Are you doing things for your life that make you feel happy? Are you, tips for COVID, watching the news all the time? Because that is something you're digesting. And be very, very aware if you're digesting things that are negative, then it might make you not very well. It's very dangerous. So in addition to that, to answer Belle's question, it's very, very important, the emotions and how you're holding on to things. Because what we're doing really now is fast track forgiveness. So it's very important that we start to let things go. You like watching horror movies. Sometimes they can be fun. So we have to let things go. So if we get stuck in particular emotions, then we can definitely cause ourselves problems. So can this affect physical things? I think emotions are the trigger and a huge, huge part of disease, stagnated emotions. And I talk about this quite a lot in my classes as well, but I think it's solidification of emotion from a gas to a liquid to a solid. And I can just talk about an anecdote from my personal life. I can't claim to be able to heal anything particularly. It's always if you want to guarantee, buy a washing machine, but I tell you what I've managed to do. I think that's the safest way to do it. So I've got a wonderful book that I use all the time called Metaphysical Anatomy, which is here. I use it all the time, and this tells you the emotional why behind disease. So I ended up with an ovarian cyst, and it was quite painful for me to it was quite the sex was quite painful for a while. And I went and had a scan from the doctors, and they figured out that I had an ovarian cyst, and they measured it and took photographs it and all of that sort of stuff. And then I looked it up in my book, and it told me the emotions associated with that. And you know what? I read this book all the time to clients, to students, to anyone who listens. And actually, it was the first time I read it out. I went, oh, holy moly, that's just me. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. And then it was very confronting, actually, because I had this situation. And then I went and I worked through all the different things which were relevant to me, because if it resonates, if it's within you, then that's a good time to clear it. So I cleared it, and I'll tell you what, after 3 days I didn't have any more pain. So in that area of my body, and I was having pain every day. So that was really interesting. And then I went back for my scan. The NHS did it 5 weeks later, and I went back for the scan, and it was there was no traces of it whatsoever. So normally, if a cyst goes, it normally bursts. It's unusual for it to have been able to go by itself. So that's a physical ailment that was gone, and it went in me. So I know that it was, and I've got the medical stuff with this. I took screenshots from the doctors to prove everything as well. So that is all verifiable. So yes, so that particular one was definitely had an emotional component, and I think all disease is very, very related to stagnated emotions. And the way that I see it is this is quite advanced stuff, but it's from a gas to a liquid to a solid. So I think it's just the densification of emotion into disease. So a gas, as I said, is emotions, because you can feel it on people when you hang around with them. Their sadness, their happiness, their joy, their depression. You can feel it when you're around them. A cyst is a ball of liquid. I had somebody the other day, I was working with fibromyalgia, and we worked through all the emotions associated, and I spoke to her yesterday, and she's pain-free. So that was amazing. But fibromyalgia is a liquid. I liken it to a liquid is because it's an unspecified pain insofar as it moves around the body, and it's very difficult for doctors to quite understand it, because it's sometimes in different places, often in one fixed location, but then it sort of moves around like water through the body. like a liquid. And then there's more, I think something like a tumor would be called a solid. So because this tumor is not tender to the touch, it's a very, very hard lump. And I think that's a solidification of emotion into a solid, which would be something like a cancer. So most things I think fit into my formula. Not that I'm able to solve them, but I have the formula of how I think they work and what that is. So yes, I think, and also, as I said, just be careful about what you're consuming, be that on the television, be that with food, be that with anything else. And I don't think many people don't realize about the things we're putting on our skin, for one, as well. A lot of products that we're buying have got parabens, and they've got basically a lot of things have got either bits of petroleum in them, and do you want to be rubbing gasoline into your skin, or they've got animal fat, boiled up bones, and the fat that comes to the surface. That's what a lot of moisturizers and beauty products are made of. That ain't good. So things like that, we just have to be careful what we're consuming, what's coming through our skin. Making sure we have some sunlight is also very important. Making sure we are walking, getting some exercise, especially with COVID. How's everyone coping with COVID? Because it's all been very stressful, I know, for many people. You know, it's very, very important. Just be careful about what you're consuming, and, you know, try to do things which inspire you, because that will give you joy. And it's very important in these times to find things which you really like doing, rather than just getting completely hooked on Netflix and, you know, and all those different things. And also we have to be aware about sugar for stress. Sugar will stop our immune system working as well as it might. Anger will stop our immune system working as well as it might. What do they say? 1 minute of anger can stop our immune system working fully for 4 hours, and 1 minute of laughter, 24 hours, it ups our immune system. So do things that make you happy, do things that make you joyful. So those are very important things we're doing in life generally, and also within COVID. So coping okay, let me just have a look what Albertina's saying. Let's have a look. So coping, but very stressful home life with family members. We're quite impulsive and difficult to interact with. I feel ya. Yes, it's a trying time at the moment. It's a trying time at the moment. It definitely is. Let me look at Zara. I've also getting a lot of weight medication for my bipolar and depression, which is worsened after my ex leaving. Yes. So Zara, we can talk afterwards about some of that stuff as well. Does anyone have a phobia? I think it's time for phobias. So if anyone has a phobia, can you type, and I'll do the most popular one. Yes, because it's the same thing. It's just this stuck emotion. Basically, we see something one time, and maybe how do phobias trigger? How do they start in the first place? It can be something from a past life. I believe in past lives. Or it can be, you know, how does your mum react when there was a garden snake, for example? Not throwing things away. That's not so much a phobia. Spider, we've got. Eggs, we've got. Interesting. So if you, like, for example, there was a garden snake. Wasps, Martin. There was a garden snake the other day, which we had, I think it's called a slow worm, but we had a garden snake. And how did your mum, for example, react when you saw it? Did, you know, how was that? So it's how phobias are formed. Did your mother say, they are big. Did your mother say, oh my goodness, and freak out that there was a snake in the garden? Or did your mum go, oh, look, isn't this a lovely little snake? And come and show you in a gentle way? Or did she do it in a way? That's the question. So, you know, our phobias can definitely be formed from our parents and their interaction. Is there anything we've had two of, at least? Because I know people have said various different phobias. I'd like to do a couple of people at the same time. Anyone else? What do we have? Aeroplanes. All right, turbulence we had. We had wasps, definitely someone who comes from panicking, Albertine. We had one. Anyone else got the same thing? Or I'll just have to pick someone at random. Let's try and do phobias if there aren't. Okay, why don't we start with fear of death. Why don't we do insects? Because I think there's a number of insects in there, and then we can do a couple of people at the same time. So let's do insects. So anyone who's got a phobia of insects, whatever insect it is, that's no problem. I will dissolve that for you now. Okay, so please go into it, think about that. Creepy, crawly, buzzy, whatever it might be. Feel it, and I will do my best to clear it. Here we go. Okay, I think that feels better. So if anyone can write in the comments and tell me how that insect thing is going, please tell me if that feels lighter, and then try to visualize that insect buzzing around or crawling on you or crawling near you or whatever that insect specifically does. Visualize them doing what they do, and then tell me if it still freaks you out, and hopefully it won't anymore. Yes, hang on a second, let's have a little look. So did anyone, so who had different phobias here? So Martin, how's it feeling with wasps? And NS, how are you feeling with spiders? So can you let me know specifically how you're feeling, and anybody else? And then we can see how that is. Thank you. And then I will tell you about, yes, so what we're going to be doing, anyone who's on this call, we will be giving a 20% discount to. Let me have a little look at what Karen's saying. I'll have to see what next time you see a wasp or a spider. Absolutely, Karen. But can you visualize it, Karen? So think about them flying around you, like buzzing or crawling on your skin. See if you can visualize and see if it still gives you panic. Obviously, yes, the proof will be in the pudding when you actually find them in the physical world, but maybe you know, the thought of them might have upset you before, and see if it was there. Martin said he's feeling much calmer. That's wonderful. Yeah, so yes, so let me know how you're feeling, everybody. If you want to come and study these things, I focus on Boston NS, sorry, there we go. And it feels duller. So NS said, oh, I focused on wasps and bees and thinking about them felt duller. Yes, we should feel less connected to it. Less, yes, just less associated with it. So it's no longer as much of an upsetting thing for you. So let me tell you about, so we're going to, as I said, we're going to have 20% off whatever people want to be doing with me, my level 1 courses maybe, or one-to-one sessions with me. So we can do obviously quite a lot we can do in a one-to-one session. Or the level 1 includes, let me talk to you through about level 1. You learn the big erasure, which is basically what we've been doing today. That includes phobias and things like grief. Solo traumas is something which is in level 1. So that's the jewel of the crown. You learn how to be able to dissolve traumas in yourself and anyone else. And that's really, really good to be able to audit your life, to be able to go through all the difficult things that you've had and be able to start to dissolve them yourself. It just makes for a happier you. The less traumas you have, the less serious you are, the more joyful you are, and the easier it is to just be happy. And what else do we want in the world more than happiness? I think it's probably one of the least, you know, it's difficult to achieve, but honestly, by releasing trauma, you become a much, much happier you. We also learned some really fun things like, well, one of the fun ones from that class is changing the taste of wine using energy, which I just love. It's just a really cool thing to be able to do. And you can teach that to other people. It's a really, really good party trick. So that's a really fun one as well. Dissolving all these different things and just, you know, and there's another thing called energetic hooks where you, when people's negative thoughts that you've put on them or they put on you, you can dissolve those too. What else is in level 1? Meditation hacks. So you learn how to drop into a deep meditation, which is obviously quite difficult for many people to do, but you learn how to drop into deep meditation very quickly, very simply. I've had someone who taught meditation be the deepest she's ever been in meditation within a minute. So I've got another student of mine called Karen, who's coming on the level 2 tomorrow. She's a big meditator. She would get up very early and meditate in the morning at get up to meditate. 40 minutes meditation was part of her daily routine, and now she can do it in 3. So she saved 40 minutes in her day. She's got an extra, 37 minutes to her day is now added because she's able to get the benefits of that 40-minute meditation in just 3 minutes. So that's a really beautiful thing as well. So it's a weekend workshop, and the next one is on June 13th and 14th, and the one after that is July 18th and 19th, and the normal price is £250, but if you'd like to sign up within the next 24 hours, it will be 20% off, making that £200. In addition, if you did want one-to-one work with me, I can tackle many things. Emotional stuff is pretty effective. Also, we can look into physical things, and hopefully some things should be able to clear as well. And the normal sessions are £250 for an hour or £175 for half an hour, and there's 20% off them as well, make it £200 or £140. So then you know about those. And I wanted to, I'll tell you my origin story, because that's pretty interesting about how I got into all this stuff. So I never expected to be a healer. This was never on the plan whatsoever. I was doing TV presenting and modeling and having a great time, and doing tequila girls. I had run an agency of tequila girls. I had girls running all around London, and club acts and snake charmers and all sorts of weird and wonderful things is what I was doing in my 20s. And then I went on a healing course, which I was very like, oh, I'm not sure about this stuff. It's all very odd. And then my best friend had burst her eardrum 5 times. Now, she was a stewardess of Virgin Atlantic, and it was excruciating for her several times a week. I mean, she likened it to childbirth through her ear, but actually she said it was worse, if you can imagine that. One time when she was in America, she woke up with this piercing pain in her ear, and she ran down to the pharmacy. She put her coat and put her trainers on, in her pajamas, in a big coat, dark as deep as winter in New York, which is just lashings of snow, ran down to the pharmacy and was in the aisle necking Tylenol in the aisle. No water, no nothing, just trying to get as many of them down her throat as possible, because she was in agony. And so she went to the doctor, the specialist, and then the surgeon, and they said, look, we really don't know what's going on with you and how to help you. But what do you do? So they said, look, we're going to try our very, very best to help you, but there's only really a 50% chance it's going to work. And it's going to cost you £4,500, which is a lot of money to most people, especially when you're in your 20s. It's even more to many. But anyway, that was, a lot of money. She was getting a loan. She was just getting herself together, because what do you do? Twice a week, 3 times a week, that crippling stabbing in the side of the head, ear pain. So anyway, I've done this 5-day workshop, and I thought, who are these hippies? What the heck is all this about? This is 13 years ago. It's a bit more mainstream than it was just then. And I come from, my dad's a lawyer. My mum's an artist. My dad went to Cambridge, my mum to Oxford. I don't come from a sort of a Healy background. So yeah, very sort of studious and academic. Anyway, so I was walking down the street with Lucy, and she falls on the ground and starts screaming and effing and blinding, and she was swearing like a sailor, go, ah, my ear, fix my ear, help me. And I went, what? And she goes, you're a healer now. We went, a healer now? She goes, yeah, you're a healer now. And I went, I'm not, what? I've done a 5-day workshop. We've not covered ears. I don't know. What are you expecting me to do? You've got surgery booked in a month. What? She said, just try, just help me, just try. And weeping and screaming and liquid coming out of all parts of her face. It was very dramatic. And I went, and she's from Carlisle. And if you're British, you may well know that people from the north of England are hard as nails. She I mean, she doesn't moan about anything. She's a real strong-willed lady, physically strong-willed. And this was just bizarre. It was obviously just excruciating for her. So I went, I don't know what to do. What? I don't know how to help you. What do you mean? Go to the doctors. And she just begged and wept and begged and wept. And obviously I wanted to do my best to help my best friend, obviously. I took her into the Louvre restaurant and I put my hands in her ear and I started channeling energy. And it was weird. Honestly, something started coming out of her ear. I know this sounds crazy. It does. I admit it. And yet it's what happened. So I can only tell you what my experience of it was. So anyway, I started channeling and something starts coming out of her ear. And it looks like a snake in heat waves. And it's just coming out and coming out and coming out. And it's, it's like a foot to a foot and a half long. And I managed to get it out. I'm feeding it out. And she's screaming, going, get out, get out. It's coming out like feeding a rope. And I can sort of feel it a bit, but I can just see it in heat waves. And I managed to get the whole of it out. And it's wriggling around on the floor. And you can just see it moving in heat waves. It wasn't a physical thing. It was an energetic thing. And so we got this one out. And then she said, do the other side. And I did the other side. And it was the same sort of thing, but smaller. It was about 6 to 9 inches long and still wriggling around on the ground. And I threw some energy at it and it was gone. And this was in 2007. It's 2020 now, that's 13 years. And she has never had earache since, not once. She cancelled the surgery. And that, my dear friends, was miraculous. It blew my freaking socks off. And I thought, you know what? I can't imagine anything more interesting, more beautiful, more amazing, more like soul rewarding to be able to do with my life than to pursue this and figure out what the hell it is. Because I think medicine's missing a trick. I really, really do. And I don't think medicine would have been able to help her. I don't, because I don't think it was something physical. And they knew that they didn't really know what was going on. It was an energetic parasite, I found out later. And I don't think they would have been able to help her. And I'm very grateful that she had that pain, because that was my epiphany moment. That was changing my career around in an instant. I just thought, you know what, stuff this TV presenting malarkey, stuff all of that. Now it's time. I just went sort of full throttle into it. And I've spent a lot of my last 13 years in a trance state, awakening my latent abilities. And now I have some abilities to be able to heal some things. And I can help you guys to awaken yourself too, because it's a normal thing. It's a natural thing, because you guys, my friends, are gods and goddesses. You just don't know how awesome you are. So thank you guys very, very much for joining me. If anyone has any questions before, I'm going to be closing up in just a second. Does anyone have any questions? Obviously, we're going to be emailing people this video afterwards. And if anyone wants to sign up, please do let Christine or I know, because as I said, we're going to have the 20% discount running for the next 24 hours. If you'd like to do the course, as I said, 13th and 14th of June, 18th and 19th of July. Any questions before I wrap it up? Anushka, thank you. It was very insightful. Thank you very much, Anushka. Anybody else have anything they'd like to say to me before I see you in a workshop very soon, I do hope. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everybody. Jamie, what did you say? Jamie, I'll speak to you about that afterwards. Information about the workshop, yes, absolutely. How many levels are there? The levels are 4 or 5. I've changed things around to make it faster. So to get to my level, it's 5 weekends. So yes, and thank you everybody for joining me today. You've been absolutely amazing. Anyone have any questions, please do feel free to contact me directly on my email or my Instagram or however you'd like. Talk to me. I'm happy to answer any questions and give you any information. Email me and I'll send you information about workshops or one-to-one sessions. And thank you so much for joining me today. You've all been amazing. Thank you. Bye. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, and stop.